And now, please welcome Steve Leary, our mayor of the beautiful city of Winter Park. Mayor Leary.
Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Well, it was interesting to have a man of faith open this with a quote from Vince Lombardi. So thank you. That's a good way to get started. Folks, last year I introduced the Mayor's Founders Award to honor an individual, family, or organization whose commitment, whose dedication and actions have built upon our founders' vision and have developed Winter Park into the best place to live, work, and play for individuals and families of all ages. The award itself hope it doesn't fall. That could hurt. It's intentionally not your usual glass, shiny, polished award. Each award is a bit unique and reflective of the honoree's work. This year's honoree moved a lot of earth, moved a lot of pipes, built a lot of roads, and built a lot of buildings. Thus, the brick, which once served as a part of roadway in Winter Park. Alan Trevillion's grandfather was a doctor who brought his family to Winter Park in 1908 when the former doctor of the town passed away. Winter Park population was 450 people at the time, just about 100 years ago. We complain about growth now. Imagine those people. The buggies were a little tough to get around. Alan was born in 1926, and after graduating high school, he joined the U.S. Air Corps. And then he went on to the University of Florida, graduating in 1950 with a degree in building construction. He came back to work for a local contractor whose office was on Wellborn Avenue. And before long, he broke off to start his own successful contracting company. Alan Trevillion Construction built large custom homes and small and medium commercial buildings. Alan built many of the UCF fraternities and sororities, and he also built Winter Park City Hall. Maybe perhaps as some sort of penance, he ended up building a lot of churches in Winter Park too. Built the Catholic Church, the Methodist Church, the Baptist Church, and more. Right, Alan? In 1962, Alan was appointed the 43rd mayor of Winter Park when Mayor Ed Gurney was elected to the U.S. House. It's a nice way to win an election, Alan. Alan also went on to serve in the Florida House of Representatives, and one of his aides was Andy Gardner, who ended up becoming president of the Senate in Florida. Alan's extremely proud of his work on the West Side. His efforts included running water and sewer pipes, paving the dirt roads, building curbs and sidewalks, and actually building the city's first swimming pool before it was swallowed up over there. Alan and his wife Vicki are still very present in Winter Park, and on May 1st they will celebrate Alan's 92nd birthday. The award reads, the 2018 Mayor's Founders Award, Mayor Alan Trevillion, with sincere appreciation for your lifetime building upon our founders' vision. Friends, I'm going to ask Vicki to come up and get this award, but please give it up for the 43rd Mayor of Winter Park, Mr. Alan Trevillion.
Oh my. Well, he's going to come and say something, so I'll just stand aside.
Yeah. All right, you're on the clock.
I'm on the clock.
Yeah. Don't be cracking into my time.
Well, I appreciate it that you asked me to be here because I've had a wonderful life in my life. It's just, I couldn't tell you exactly what all I've been through, and it's all been good. And it really is. My grandfather came here in 17, and they had no things to drive in, but they got to drive in, and then after the First World War, everything went bad there, and Winter Park started to get going, and that's a one thing that happened. But I just want to thank you for all that we had, my group that worked with me. It was really something. And actually, we did so much. I'll tell you this, I'm not bragging, but we built the biggest units of out on Orange Fork, out there. And they've rebuilt the one on the left side, or the west side, and the other one has been rebuilt and added to. And the city of Winter Park was recommended as the one that did the most work in the time that I was here. And I tell you, you've talked about what we did to the colored people. We're glad to do it. And I'm not going to talk anymore. But
Thank you.
When you're 92 and you want the mic, you take the mic. I'll tell you that. Thank you, Betsy. Jana, are you back in yet? I think you were supposed to introduce me, so I'm a little insulted that you gave Randy a really nice introduction. I also want to thank my fellow commission members, Carolyn, Pete, Sarah, over there, and Greg. We each bring a unique perspective to the dais. I appreciate the commitment you all make. So we are working well as a team. Thank you. Thank you to our city staff, who works every day to keep this such a special place. And most especially, I want to thank each of you. As Julie and Jennifer touched on, your contributions really make this city great. It's not a brick, it's not a tree, it's you all. So thank you. 2017 was another great year in Winter Park. I'd like to share some highlights, some of the things we're working on, and then talk about some challenges and our path forward. This past year, we added 55 acres of parkland to Winter Park with the acquisition of the Howell Branch Preserve. To give you a bit of a picture on how big that is, that's bigger than the golf course and Central Park combined. I don't know when the last time that has happened in the city, but I can't recall. Plans are underway for this to be a natural park for hiking, canoeing, kayaking, and more. We're also working with our partners in Maitland to possibly do a joint planning agreement with them and leverage their property, which is right next to us, which would make this about a 115-acre park. So plans are in the works, and we're having discussions and seeing if they're receptive to that. 2017 was the first full year in operation of our Winter Park golf course. It is now rated one of the top 10 9-hole golf courses in the country. We also went, if you like that, yeah. We also went, I hope you like this just as much, if not more. We went from losing upwards of $250,000 a year on that course to breaking even. So it was a major investment. We've instituted Project Bloom, which is sprucing up landscaping around town. You should be seeing that. The Friends of Mead Gardens, I have a lot of friends here at Jeffrey, who continue to revitalize our largest park. We've seen the great success of Showalter Field, which tomorrow will host Restore the Roar to raise funds to support the Winter Park High School Foundation. This year, we'll begin work on the St. Andrews Trail, which is a $2 million project paid for by the state. We like that, too. And our great friends at Full Sail University, Gary and Isis, I see you over there, are leading the charge alongside the Nature Conservancy and bringing awareness to Central Florida regarding the Monarch Initiative, which helps protect pollinators, a great program as well. More details about this will be unveiled in April as part of Earth Month. Folks, transportation and congestion on our roads is an important quality of life issue. Between 2010 and 2017, the population of Winter Park grew by just under 1,500 residents. It's about 5%. During the same time, Metro Orlando grew by almost 253,000 residents. The traffic in Winter Park, most of it on our main north, south, east, west corridors, is from our neighbors moving through Winter Park. So what are we doing to help alleviate this? In 2017, we approved the funding of a fiber optic network that will connect our traffic signals. We can use this network to feed into an intelligent traffic system to help smooth the flow of traffic through the city, so the lights will speak to one another. We're also seeing the benefits of the Lee Road extension, which has smoothed traffic at Lee, Webster, and 1792. And last year, we purchased the old Fairbanks Bowl property, right there at the intersection of 1792 and Fairbanks. It was acquired so that we can widen that intersection and lengthen the turn lanes to help smooth traffic there too, especially at rush hour. And this year, we're working with the FDOT on an FD&E study for 1792 to not only help smooth the traffic, it'll be a major beautification effort. Plans are underway for that as well. Our electric utility. I didn't see Dan D'Alessandro. Dan, are you here? There you are. Danny, before I get into just the things that you've done this year, I want to recognize Dan. After Hurricane Irma, when he was still probably sleep deprived, a little bit out of breath, Dan got on a plane and went down to St. Croix after Hurricane Matthew and helped them rebuild their entire electric utility. So, Dan, thank you for representing us so well. After Hurricane Irma, your City Commission approved an additional $1 million to address issues that arose during the storm. So this year we'll have at least $4.5 million going to our electric underground, which is, again, we're normally at $3.5 million. It's an extra $1 million this year. We have 9 years left on our original 20-year program, and we continue to review ways in which to responsibly expedite even that timeline. Our fiber network that I mentioned earlier. During Irma, we also discovered that the lift stations failed due to power outages, and sewage began to back up the lines. If your home is near one of those lines, you know what I'm talking about. Our response was delayed because a third-party cellular network that we had partnered with failed. These systems will now be connected by our underground fiber network, giving us real-time information. So if there is failure, we know immediately, and we can get generators out there. We have done all this and much more, much more, very responsibly. Your tax dollars have been well managed. We have over 20% of our general fund in reserve, our rainy day fund, and we have not raised the tax rate in Winter Park in 11 years. We have the third lowest tax rate in all of Orange County. Those are just a few of the highlights, but there's also others. The groundbreaking. I saw Patty. Where'd you go, Patty Maddox? There you are. The groundbreaking for Project Wellness. Our new community paramedicine program, which is very successful. Our new police neighborhood advisory committee, also very successful. The creation, Clarissa, you took this on, the creation of our arts and culture subcommittee, which this past weekend hosted the very successful Weekend of the Arts. We've added to our historic places inventory through incentives, not by forcing people to get into the program. We provided funding assistance to the Winter Park Housing Authority. How? To build a handicap-accessible apartment at the Meadows. We also increased funding, thank you, Commission, for both the Welborn and Winter Park day nurseries. This room is filled with individuals and organizations that make this community a very special place. We as elected officials cannot do this alone. I can point to people at almost every table in here that make this a special place. I have the Petracuses who were supposed to be at my table today, but when Mickey Mouse calls, the mouse takes priority over the mayor. So James and Julie could not be with us today. But what I wanted to do is recognize them. They have deep roots in the community who not too long ago opened the Ravenous Pig in a pretty slowly redeveloping area along Orange Avenue. They've been recognized for their culinary talents across the country and beyond, but the nerve and grit, and anybody that's been in the restaurant business knows what it takes. The nerve and grit to open their restaurant years ago helped revitalize that entire corridor. They now have other concepts, including Swine & Sons, and other locations, including Disney and the airport, to take a bit of Winter Park and share our brand everywhere. I want to thank James and Julie. You don't have to clap too long for them, but just a little one because they're not here. For their commitment. Also at my table is Hal George. Hal doesn't know I was going to recognize him. He's all embarrassed now. You may know Hal as the owner and operator of Parkland Homes, but Hal's commitment to Winter Park is so much greater. He serves on the CRA and the Winter Park Housing Authority, among many other community service organizations. But he's also the driving force behind Habitat for Humanity in Winter Park. He has led the charge to provide 54 homes to low-income residents and families to make sure everyone that wants to live in Winter Park is available. He also is building 10 in Maitland. Not bad for an old Rollins College water skier. Al, thank you. Now this next one, this is going to hurt me because she didn't know I was going to recognize her, and she's going to kill me later. Leslie O'Shaughnessy. And those of you who know Leslie know what I mean. Leslie has been involved in so many ways with the city over the years, her impact is impossible to quantify. She worked as Congressman Micah's local representative, made sure that we were always a presence in Washington. Currently, she serves as Special Assistant to Orange County Mayor Jacobs for homelessness and housing, coordinating efforts on homelessness across the county. Her work touches lives here in Winter Park and much further beyond. She has also volunteered to serve on our library and events task force to help guide that program forward. Leslie, thank you for your broad perspective and your positive impact. I've seen that look before, and usually she's going to hit me later. With people like these and all of you, we will continue to improve Winter Park in areas such as parks, transportation, emergency services, utilities, and more. Last year, I asked that we all look to the future and combat the obstacles that will prevent us from becoming all that we can become. I asked that we all pay particular attention to how we treat one another. We cannot be a special place if we treat others in a common manner. We are in competition with communities across the globe to attract the best and brightest to Winter Park. The no people who stand against everything and have no plausible alternative to all that they oppose are moving on. Because you cannot build a community on no. It holds no value, it holds no hope, and it holds no promise. We and many others build this community, and we will keep doing just that. I ask you again that you join me, follow the lead of our founders, and continue to be a welcoming community. This year, I warn of another concern and ask for your assistance. Our leaders in Tallahassee have lost their way. Members of the Florida House and Senate have chosen leadership, party, lobbyists, and their own selfish interests over the constituents that sent them to Tallahassee in the first place. Their overt attempts to preempt home rule and create a one-size-fits-all legislation is beyond dangerous. It's borderline unconstitutional. This is not hyperbole, folks. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't partake in that. We are not Orlando, Ocoee, Oviedo. We are not Eatonville, any of our closest neighbors and friends. We operate in conjunction with, and in many ways in competition with one another. We don't lack respect for our neighboring towns. Indeed, our strength is in our appreciation of our differences. Decisions regarding local issues need to be made at the local level to maintain this uniqueness. Decisions regarding vacation rentals, where your neighbor's house can become a daily rental. Or CRAs, which are agreements between cities and counties to assist in revitalization efforts in specific areas. Think of Hannibal Square. Or millage rates, where Tallahassee would set our local tax rate. There was even an attempt this year to set statewide standards on tree trimming. Tree trimming. State standards. I'm not kidding. This is going on in Tallahassee. Because there was a single individual who was upset that his local municipality was holding him to a higher standard on his property. He wanted to introduce legislation to tell the entire state what the tree trimming standards should be. These and many other power grab bills were proposed this year in Tallahassee. Having these decisions made for all of us by the state legislature means less diversity and choice for residents, businesses, and guests. The overreach by the State House and Senate is shocking. Let me do this. Quick show of hands. Who can name, we don't have to call it out, who can name the Speaker of the House of Florida? Yeah, most of them are electeds that are raising their hands. How about the Senate President? Okay, no appointeds and no electeds. How many of you can name the 3 people that represent the city of Winter Park and Tallahassee? All 3. Okay. They are crafting legislation that would impact our daily life, our uniqueness. You know us. You may not like us, but you know your local leaders. You see us in the supermarket. You see us at church. You see us at community events. We hear from you often. Yeah, that's fine. I'm glad it was Vicki and not me. You know, there is a saying, and it's true, that government closest to the people is best. Leadership, parties, lobbyists, and individual self-interests have trumped your interests in Tallahassee. This issue has been featured in the media this past year many different times. We didn't think it get worse after last session, but we were wrong. It is much worse. It's an all-out assault on our rights. We will post on our website information on how to get in touch with these individuals, and please let them know that you expect them to represent you. Don't let them tell you that you don't understand how things work in Tallahassee. That may be true, actually. They may know how things do work because they have forgotten how things are supposed to work. We need your help. Your vote is the only thing outside of leadership offices that sparks response in Tallahassee. I can tell you that because when we sent out an email not too long ago, 4 hours later, I got a call from a state representative who said, "What are you doing? You're killing me. I'm getting calls into my office." I said, "That's the way it's supposed to work." He said, "No, tell him to call the speaker." I said, "No, we're telling you to go in the speaker and defend us and fight for us." So we are going to get information out to ask you to help us. Friends, I want to thank you again for being here today. 2017 was a phenomenal year in the city of Winter Park. I want to thank you for standing together to build upon our founder's vision. And I want to thank you for your commitment to Winter Park's past, present, and future. Thank you all very much.